1883. A collision between two American museums, written down as it happened, and never fully closed. For 4 years, Osborne collected across Haywood County for man Valentine of Richmond. He opened the mounds by the landowner's consent. Jasper Allen's among them, recovering carved stone and pottery site by site. By 1883, the collection numbered close to 1,000 objects. The Valentines were explicit about their purpose. They were not trading relics, they were building a museum and racing to save objects before they were lost. Railroad crews, Ben Valentine noted, cut through many graves and old places. He wanted the pieces gathered before they were thrown away. Each object would sit in a glass case as the Osborne collection meant, in his words, to make a handsome show of them in this city many years from now. That same winter, a Cherokee visitor Valentine recorded as Chief Bushyhead, best identified as George Bushyhead of Sandtown in Macon County, told him what the images were for. In the western mountains, he said, the medicine men used them to bring rain. Valentine noted his own caveat that he may have misunderstood, but the prior year a meaning was set. These were sacred instruments, not curios. In 1882, the objects reached the Smithsonian's Charles Rao. His verdict, post-Columbian, unlike anything he had seen. But, as the Richmond Dispatch would clarify in 1885, Rao did not charge Valentine with fraud. He said Valentine had been imposed upon. Then the federal government moved against the practice itself. On the 30th of March, 1883, Commissioner Hiram Price promulgated the Code of Indian Offenses. Its sixth rule criminalized the medicine men, the keepers of the rain-bringing formulas, with confinement until they would forever abandon the practice. It was signed 1 week before Emmert reached Mount Pisgah. What? The agent on the mountain. That spring, the Bureau of Ethnology sent its own field man, John Emmert. On the 6th of April, he wrote Cyrus Thomas 4 words, I have found Mount Pisgah. The specimens he was hunting for were the ones Valentine had described. Emmert failed to find them. What he found instead was talk. Local men, he reported, offered to make any image he wanted in 10 days and claimed $70 worth sold in 2 weeks. One said the difference would never show. Sink the stone in running water for a few days, and it looks old. 2. The comparison streams. One letter carries the whole picture. Eddie Valentine had seen Buchanan's collection at Webster, offered entire for $25. He turned it down, more than we had been paying, he said, for just such a lot of objects. Yet Osborne was authorized to pay it anyway if the lot was whole and could not be had for less. The market had a going rate, and everyone in it knew it. And the same letter carried the Valentine's own comparison order. Modern pipes were coming from a maker named Mill Rickermond to be collected at Robert Hyatt's, in their exact words, so as to compare them with the old ones we have. That was 19 days before Emmert commissioned his own, some of his skillful work, that you would not know the difference. Modern manufacture was an open category on both sides of this market. That matters. A made specimen in an institutional ledger is a comparison piece, not, by itself, proof that the older finds were faked. 3. The vouchers. And the Bureau paid for them. Treasury Account 237, 177 records 2 purchases through Emmert from A. Burnett of Asheville. Voucher 17, $28.50 for ethnologic specimens on the 24th of April. An itemized list of images, bears, and pipes. Voucher 40, $22 for 15 soapstone specimens on the 21st of May. The arithmetic is exact. 15 at $1.46 2/3. One line stays unresolved. 4 pipes at 25 cents, carried in the column as $4, not 1. A flag for the original, not a break in the chain. 4. Interference. The Valentines named it in real time. On the 13th of April, Granville Valentine wrote that the Smithsonian had sent an agent to Pisgah to interfere with work that we have started. The Bureau had entered the very market it condemned, as accuser and buyer at once. The pressure ran both directions. Osborne worked, in Emmert's words, by threats and promises to keep the men from selling to him. Emmert, for his part, was recorded threatening to ruin their trade. 3 of Emmert's letters from that May, registers 25-7-22 and 25-8-89 and 9-37, sit inside the accusation window and remain unlocated in public digital sources. The named target is the division of Mound Exploration Records, microfilm M1059. And within weeks, Richmond stepped back. "Nobody is to blame," Valentine wrote on the 2nd of June. The whole thing turns on the claim made by Rao last summer. Hide what the record shows. There is one more place the assignment was written down. The institution's own annual report. The report for 1883 carries the Bureau's account of the Mound Division, Thomas's Division, Powell's account, printed under the secretary's name. It lists the season's temporary assistants and states what Emmert was employed to do. Page 56. Opening mounds and graves in East Tennessee and investigating the manufacture of imitations of ancient relics in western North Carolina. Ordered printed by Joint Resolution of Congress, June 1884. 16,060 copies. An earlier cut of this film left the assigned purpose open, waiting on instruction letters not yet retrieved. The published record closes it at the level of mandate, the employer's own statement of purpose under the secretary's name in the public record. The instruction letters would add the wording in advance, a refinement now, not the hinge. What the report does not close is the charge itself. The fabrication claim still rests on protected informants, and interference is still Richmond's word, not Washington's. The collection did not vanish, it divided. The Valentine held and displayed it. The Smithsonian kept some pieces as examples of what it called manufactured frauds. And at the University of North Carolina, whose laboratories curate much of the material, it remains published as forgeries. Asked to reconsider in 1965, the Smithsonian only restated the verdict: the objects should never be sold, but should stay available to scholars and the public. And in 1999, under the Repatriation Act, the Garden Creek burials and their funerary objects were found Cherokee and cleared for return, a finding about the graves, not the carvings. So the vouchers prove rivalry, not fabrication. The charge of 1883 still rests on informants who were never named. Whether the carvings are old or made, authentic or imitation, is still, object by object, the only question that counts.